In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I repair faulty Xbox One analog sticks. As you can see, this controller's analog stick doesn't bounce back to its zero position, meaning that in a video game, your character could be moving forward after you release the stick, and this would be very annoying for gameplay. Please ignore the ugly paint job for this controller. I will be cleaning it up later. If we look close enough, we can see that there's a lot of gunk built up inside of the analog stick. You could probably clean it, but I'm just going to replace the entire thing just to be safe. The replacement analog sticks are really cheap online and also very easy to salvage. You can remove the analog sticks in a number of different ways. I like to use just my soldering iron. You could use a hot air gun, a solder sucker, or a combination of a soldering iron with solder braid. I like to just use my iron because I feel like I get more control out of it. So what I do first is I remove the potentiometers from the analog stick itself. I do this by just inserting a flathead screwdriver in between the case of the analog stick and the pot and just pop it off. And then I remove those from the board first. That way I get 6 joints out of the way. And then I remove the rest of the analog stick. Now I'm going to focus on the case for the analog stick. There are 4 giant solder joints on the bottom of this that connect to the case of the analog stick, which is all metal, and then connects to the ground plane on the Xbox One controller. This is where it gets a little bit weird. A lot of heat is lost due to this ground connection, so you're going to have to use either a lot of heat or the method I use, which is I just rock the case back just enough while heating it up to get my snips underneath it, and I cut the leads one side at a time. So with the analog stick finally removed, I'm just going to clean up the holes. I snipped 4 leads, so I have to get them out. The method I use to get snipped leads out is I just heat up the hole and then give the board a small smack. That way the lead comes flying out when the solder is molten. And then I just use solder wick and alcohol to clean up the rest. To install the new analog stick, I'm just going to drop it in place, making sure that all the leads get in at the same depth. And then I'm just going to solder it and clean up the joints. And before I close up the controller, I'm just going to give the analog stick a quick test. As you can see, it bounces right back to its 0 position. I do not plan on using this case with the hideous paint job on it anymore. I'm going to attempt to clean it off using some acetone, but in the meantime, I'll be switching to a brushed silver case that I bought off eBay. and I'll switch to something better in the future, but for now this brushed silver case will have to work even though I don't like it. As a further test to make sure that the analog stick is working properly, I played with it in a few games and all looked well. And I also ran this little program that the Xbox One has to make sure that the analog stick is giving the right readings. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will try to get back to you. Thanks so much for watching.